Well, we got a little Jayco J-Feather camper in here. Let's go take a look at this roof. We're going to do a lot to this roof. So, got some rotted ceiling in here on the underside, but this is your typical RV roof. This is, put more on type roof system. So, obviously it looks like they haven't put more on, which is probably saved them some money in that aspect. But evidently this had failed. You can see all the tape there. So, that's a red flag. And it looks like we got a patch right there. So, that's our red flag. We're going to be getting rid of that antenna. And if you have one of these, up inside here, almost nobody caulks right there. There's a screw here. There's a screw, there's one there, but there's one here, one here. But what I'm getting at is these screws right here, the water will get in and it'll get up underneath there and start routing it out. So that's that. And if you have one of these antennas, the reason why we don't replace these antennas, I'm going to be making a curb for the antenna. Actually on here, they're not even getting one, they don't want one. But there's a shaft right there, it goes down. So when you turn that crank, that's what operates this to come up. So what happens is when I put the curb on there, that shaft, when you go into the ceiling, I don't know, maybe about 3/8 of an inch below the ceiling, that's where the handle gets mounted to or gets secured to. So when I make a curb, that rod, that crank shaft if you will, is above the ceiling. You can't get the handle on it. And there's a rule, they're probably not the best antennas going. So, but if you have one of these antennas, you'll usually, right in there, you can see that little bit of, see that? You get water come down here, and it'll trickle down behind here, and it'll start routing stuff out. So if you have one, make sure they're sealed. All you have to do is pull this up, and then you can load it, but it doesn't feel like there's anything in there. So you can just load it and push that back down if you have that. That'll prevent that. So other than that, looks like you got a little bit of sagging going on right here with the air conditioner, and that's kind of typical where the gasket will fail. And when the gasket fails, then it propagates a whole bunch of problems. So that's the whole purpose of a curb anyways, is going to elevate it up so you don't have that issue. The only protection that this air conditioner or any air conditioner has is just a foam gasket. So all this dirt you can see on here, the thing is filthy, and you can see all the dirt and everything up underneath the unit itself. All that dries out the gasket. When the gasket dries out, then you start getting these leaks. And they're going to be chronic leaks. They're going to be small leaks. They're not going to be this deluge of water. By the time you see that you've got leaks coming in that manner, then you've got bigger problems. So now the water gets through the gasket because it's failed. The roof deck will soak it up. When the roof deck soaks it up, then the insulation will. And depending on the way your roof is assembled, or the assembly of the roof system, this one is a ply foam, and some other ones are just trusses. But if you have wood trusses, then that would soak up the wood. So the decking soaks it up, maybe the wood frame or the insulation, and then it'll go down to the ceiling panel. Ceiling panel will soak up what it can. By the time you see it coming through that vinyl that's on the ceiling panel, you've already got some serious damage. So that's what a curb does. It's going to it redirects water. That's what they do. So on the radio here, I'll put a boot in there, so that'll be protected. And like I said, we're not even going to put an antenna on. And then never understood why you would have a stink pipe right there. And I haven't even seen it, so I don't even know if it's a kitchen or not. But I've seen some where they've had stink pipes right there next to the vent. And I don't know who would want to have a stink pipe right next to the vent. So we're going to explore that. If that is the case, I'm going to move it while I get the roof open. And that one I'm sure is fine. So other than that, that's our little roof here. So all of this is coming off, and we're going to create camber on this roof. We're going to rebuild the whole entire roof. Going to put all new trusses on it and everything, and we're going to get a lot more insulation on it. So when this is a flat roof, I mean it's flat. That's how I know it's a ply foam. 99% of the time you see this here flat, that's going to be ply foam. What ply foam is, if I take a drill, and you'll see when I open it up anyways, but if I were to drill through, I'm going to drill through the membrane, I'm going to drill through the thin decking, I'm going to go through foam, and then I would end up going through the ceiling panel, which is another 1/8 inch. That's ply foam. It's foam sandwiched in plywood, thin plywood, 1/8 inch. So this is flat, and that's, you know, how you can pretty much tell. Flat roofs like these, especially in these smaller ones. You may have some travel trailers that say light in the name, and if they do, that's kind of indicative that it has a ply foam roof assembly. So they're good and bad. Their good part is they're light. That part is awesome. The bad part is that they try to span, and this roof is probably, I don't even know if it's 1.5 inches, but I'll say it's 1.5 inches. Some are even 1 inch. But we'll say this is 1.5 inches. And you're trying to span a piece of structure 8 foot. That's going to give a lot of bow. So that's too far of a span for that. And that's why, you know, often I'll see like they'll kind of have like a little bit of a sag in the center, and then you get water collecting there. So the bad part of water collecting, if you have water collecting up on your roof, one, obviously you got an issue with the roof for sure, and the other issue is when water stands and just sits there and the sun gets on it, it's a magnifying glass, and it will accelerate the degradation of the material. So you don't want to have that. On a commercial, when you put a commercial membrane down, you may have a little bit what they call ponding water, and if that doesn't go away within a couple of days, then that's an issue, and that wouldn't be covered under warranty. That would have to be an issue to be corrected. So, but you don't want to have standing water, and especially on a camper, because these roofs are cheap, so they don't have the same reflective value as they do with the materials we use. So, you know, I don't know if someone's going to be jumping up and down and go, "Whoa, it's so cool in here." I've never really gauged that much, but I do believe you're going to feel a difference in how much that air conditioner is actually working. You know, and again, after we rebuild it with the trusses, I'm going to put insulation in there, and we're going to pack it all up, and that air conditioner will work real well afterwards. So that's us. So let us get this open and see what's going on, and we will keep you updated. So. That's our little Jayco so far. So this is what we got. All ripped up. You can see how much rot is up underneath here. Then you can probably see the gap underneath that level. So they're telling me there's a sag. That gasket failed. So, alright, so now we're going to rip it up. We're going to take the whole thing up. We're going to reframe the whole entire roof. Let the party begin. Alright, so now you see what we got. This is a ply foam roof. But there's the ceiling panel, there's the foam, this was the roof deck that was all delaminated that I showed earlier. Well, you can still see it over there. That's all D-lam, and so they only had a couple of, the frame right here for the AC, and that's it. There's no other frame. I think there may be one more back down here somewhere, but that's it. They don't, like on this side over here, and that's just about 8 foot, nothing. It was just all foam. So, and that's what caused these things to belly out. So, but now we're going to obviously rebuild it, but you can see how much damage there is in here. We'll get it. That's what we do. All right, so we've got the roof all built and all reframed. We're going to load this with some blown-in insulation, start decking it. Got to run our wires, of course. We only had the AC vent up there. We got a bathroom vent right here, and then that's about it. Real simple. All right, so now we got the insulation in, and we got our protective plates over everything that we've got wires on. Even over here where we had to run some wires. I want to make sure we don't get a staple or anything through them. So now we're going to glue it and get the decking on it. So we got a couple of sheets already put down, and now we glue them all down. Everything gets glued. You can see some glue right here, but we're going to glue it all down. That's what we do. It's just subfloor adhesive. That's all you need. Something to hold it down. And that ought to get you.
Oh, we're going to drop it in.
That's it. Soak her up. Once we got all the decking down, we went ahead and put these strips. That's where the seams are. We just put it there just to kind of cover the seam. These are probably so good we really didn't need them, but nonetheless they threw them in there. And then this protects the main roofing from the phylon. Yeah, sometimes those edges can be sharp. So we put them on there. We also put an edge band on here. So now the phylon right here won't irritate the main roof as it comes folding over. So all we got to do now is just wait for it to what's called flash off, which means it's basically, some call it dry, but it's not. But you can see the sheen on here. And then over there and some other areas over there, we've got a little bit of still yellowing. And once it's all flashed off, we'll roll it over, and then we can put in our vents and get this thing put together. Well, we're done with our little Jayco J-feather here. So as you notice, we reframe the roof. I'll show you the interior. I got to get a flashlight and show you all that, or a light in there. But we put an FRP panel up on top of for the ceiling, and it looks really well. It looks nice and clean. So the roof system is a 20-year roof system. This is a commercial grade, like you're going to find on a hotel, office building, library. And you can, all the curbs are all heat welded in here. You don't need any self-leveling. You don't need anything like that at all. You can change these out yourself, the air conditioner, and you can change out the skylight. You can change all that yourself. So you don't have to come back. If in the event this, got damaged and you had to, you don't have to bring it to us. I mean, you can, but this is something that's another tech or somebody could follow right behind and do the same thing with the vents. So the plumbing right here, even if that cap pops off, it's going to go down to the holding tank. And then on the air conditioner, there's a foam gasket up underneath there, which had failed. And keeping that in mind, like when you saw all this damage in the beginning, which was probably contributed to a bad gasket, just understand something like that with a spray-on or roll-on roof, that's not covered. All that damage that was up underneath there, that's not covered. So the curbs, what they do is when the water starts to come down the roof, as the water is coming down the roof, it's going to hit up on here and it's going to get directed away. That's the whole idea to a curb. That's how they function. That's the purpose of a curb. So this roof, obviously, it has a little bit of, if you want to call it slope, it's just got a little bit of a camber on it. All campers and all roofs, when you say a flat roof, all roofs essentially have some sort of angle or way to kind of move water away, even on a flat commercial roof. So for all practical purposes, when you say flat roof, you mean low slope. They are in the same category. So all that said, when the water comes down, and I've had some people that say, hey, it's not a flat roof, it's got slope to it. It's the same animal, okay? The whole principle of installation is all the same, is what I'm getting at. So again, as the water comes down, it'll go and get diverted around. That's the purpose of a curb. All the curbs have a counterflash. That's what this is. So when the water comes up, it can't jump up. That's the purpose of it. Now, obviously, you're going to get water coming down, but your damage is generally coming from an erosion effect that's washing on it. So all that said, this flange I just showed you, that counterflash, is up on this as well. All of them have it. So now when the water comes down on the air conditioner, there's another piece of counterflash up underneath there. You can see that piece of metal counterflash goes below the flashing that I showed you on here to push the water down below to wash out. You can see we put a couple of stands in the back. That just gives it some balance. Some of the other ones we bolt, we put through there. That just seemed to be an easier way to do it in case somebody has to follow behind us and change out that air unit. They don't have to worry about the bracketry we made. All it is just there's a bolt in there going right through the frame. It's that simple. So the material itself is a TPO. This is a thermoplastic. So that's what gives us the ability to weld everything together. So this is a 20-year system. You could call this a lifetime roof. I don't, because they rated it for 20 years on a commercial roof before it would need some attention. So without the attention after, and on a camper, you're probably going to get more than that out of this. It's not going to yield you just 20 years because they're basing that off of our commercial roof being out in the weather, out in the sun, constantly, day after day after day, right? That UV light really damages the roof systems. That's how they rate it. All that said, campers generally don't go through all that kind of, they're usually under shade or something is what I'm getting at. So you probably yield maybe 25 years. And then you can put, a coating on here. You can do that. Those spray-on coatings and roll-on coatings are actually were designed for flat roofs. That's what they were designed for. But they jumped the bandwagon and said, hey, we can sell that to RVers. They don't know any better, and we will sell it to them. But they're still not fixing the problems of the AC being elevated. They're not fixing the problems of the vents not being elevated. these vents, skylights, etc. They're not doing that, so they're just mocking the same system. And a lot of people get this misconception. They think the membrane has failed, and most of the time the membrane has not failed. What has failed is the penetrations. You can go back and look at my videos and you're going to see it's the penetrations. So if you're not doing this elevated, and the same with the boots that go around for the plumbing, if you're not doing all that, then you're just mocking a system that's already failed. So what we do here is make sure we don't have any of those issues happen again. So like I said, this is the 20-year roof system. We tell folks, bring it back to us, we'll inspect it for you, no problem at all. If they want to inspect it themselves, they can, but you know, we'd like to see it come back for our warranty, in the sense that you'll always get the warranty on the product itself. The product is 20 years. So I don't want somebody to think that we just put a roof on, kicked it out, and said, here you go, thanks, you got your money. We want to inspect everything. That's just prudent. You want to inspect everything. You know, we'll inspect the caulk and we do all that. So if you bring it back to us every year, and if there was an issue with it, obviously we'd fix it, and if there was collateral damage, we would fix that as well. If a customer wants to do it themselves, and then they come back and go, hey, I've been inspecting it, but this, that, the other thing, well, I mean, you're not going to inspect it like we do, so we encourage you to come back. But and if there is repairs, we may have to charge you for it. But anyhow, if you get a tree branch that comes through it, and we leave a patch kit. Some people, I had one of our competitors, or we didn't even call him a competitor. It was a spray-on company that said that our roofs were so bad and we didn't have any faith in them that we had to give these what I call care packages out. And a care package has some caulking in it, and it also has some tape in it and some stuff just in case a tree branch comes down and pokes a hole in it. So it's actually a courtesy that we extend, but evidently he wanted to flip it to make it seem like that, well, it's not that great of a system, you'll have to do repairs. That's not the case. No one ever uses the care packages. It's very, very seldom that anybody has ever done that. But it's kind of like rolling around without a spare tire. I mean, that's foolish. So what do you do when you get a branch that comes down at a campground, right? You need to get something to repair it. So that's why I put it all in there. So, you know, I figured I'd get that out of the way because, like I said, I've just heard some of these things where you try to help folks out and they always got to do a spin or a twist on it and so forth, but for their own narrative. So we have three colors here. You got tan, gray, and white. And then the way this is, see if you can see this is a reinforced membrane. And what a reinforced membrane is, you can probably see a little bit of the little squares in there. Let's see if I got a better one for you. But what that is there's a mesh built into the product. There we go. This is actually a piece of the roof we just did, but see it right there? That's where it gets its strength to resist against hail, tree branches, things like that. But again, you could get a heavy tree branch come down and knock a hole in it. And if you do, I want you to be able to patch it instead of letting water come in, you know, things like that. I had one customer who tried to make it around a drive-through and ripped the roof from the sign that said height, you know, the height was 8 foot. You know, that sign, he ripped it. So at least he could get up there and do something with it, even though it was a silly mistake. But anyhow, that's the purpose of that. And we went around with 2 laps of caulking. So when we put the gutter on, we glue the gutter on. And then once that's glued on there, all of these screws in here, I think I already showed you, but I'll show you again. Every single screw is sealed. Every single screw is sealed. So this, you see the track in there? That goes in and under and over. It goes under and over, and that's what keeps it sealed. I like this better than the other stuff that just sits in there. Now, we don't sell anything, so we don't sell any curves. We don't actually sell anything at all. This insert trim, I have to buy that 2 miles at a time, so it's not something that you can just readily get. There is a couple of other products out there. I guess you'd have to search on Amazon. But anyhow, let me show you the rest of it. So I want to get down and show you the interior. I got to get a good light in there. But here's our little stamp. We couldn't put it in the center like we normally do. We put that on there so this way if you ever want to sell the roof or whatever, even come down the road if there's something wrong with the product for whatever reason. I don't know. Never had this issue, but I like to have that on there so we know how old the roof is when it comes back for inspections, how well it's working. You know, a lot of this stuff I do is kind of redundant for safety, for just better practice, if you will. And we also put this vinyl on here. We put it on the shoulder here, and we put it on the front because there's some hair fractures in there. So that's all they were is hair fractures. So I'm just trying to stave it off, and you know, without making a big dent in the wallet to have to try to, you know, patch everything over. That'll work just fine. So all right, that's about it. Let me show you the oh yeah, then over here he didn't want the antenna, so all we did is put a letter A on there. So down the road, if he ever decides to, well, now we know where the antenna went, right? So let me go down and show you the inside, how well that come out, and we'll end up closing the video out. So this is the ceiling, as you can see, and that's an FRP panel. It's nice and clean. And when you do them from the top, like when you pull it and do them from the top like we do, then everything sits the way it's supposed to. Then we just made up this nice molding right here. We made all that, so it just looks clean. Care package. Right. So in our care package we have caulking, we got primer, we have got 2 patches. Those are heat patches. We got a patch, peel and stick patch. We got a checker tool. We've got a magnet. And the rest of this is just pens, keychains, brush, nozzle. Okay, so if we have a hole in the roof, and we'll simulate a hole. We're gonna do hole simulations. We say we got a hole there. Here's your tree branch come through, and you're like, oh man, I got a hole in my roof, it's leaking. So what you want to do? And it's raining out. Right now it's raining. You're like, crap, I gotta stop that leak. You want to get in there, and if you can't get that nozzle in there, don't worry about it. Make it a little bigger. What you're trying to do, you need to get up underneath the roofing, like this. This is what we need to do, get up underneath the roofing. Then you're going to take and you're going to put this up inside there, and you're going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hopefully this thing is plugged up. There it goes. Just squeeze, squeeze. You're going to try and get up underneath this part too. Squeeze up underneath there. Get some more underneath there. Well, we are getting this thing all boogered up. Then what we're going to do, you're going to push it together. See how it oozes out? That's sealed. You're done. This is a moisture cured product. So what? It's a hot mess. Looks terrible. Who cares? Keep the water out. So now, the next day, we're going to go up there, and that's going to be cured looking like that. So we're going to take a knife, and you just shave it down. Just shave it down with a knife. I'm just going to obviously wipe this off. Now you say, hey, I want something a little better than that. So what we're going to do is get some cleaner. This is a terrible rag. You got another one. You got one on you? Oh, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag. Hey, what are you doing? What are you going to talk about, man? Nope, just leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone right now. We're recording now? Are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, so now we cleaned it off with a knife. I just washed that up because it's still wet. Take that off. So now we got a patch. This is a peel and stick patch. We're going to take that, we're going to center it over there. Just take a pen and go around like this. I like to kind of put a dash like that so I know who's where, what, and where, and how. So now there's what I got. So in the package we got primer. We also have a brush. You're going to take that, you're going to go all inside the square. You're also going to go outside this square about 3/8 of an inch. Outside about 3/8 of an inch or so. Once you get that, there's a film on the back. You peel the film, now you know which side you are, see, because there's your marks. And you peel that film back. Get the fingers, fat fingers in there to get a get the film off of this thing. This is just a regular roof tape. That's all it is. We put them in all the care packages. Get that daggone thing off of there. Probably use some fingernails. Probably help. Come on. There it is. Okay. Oop, there it is. Now you got the film. We take that film. So now we're going to line it back up with this. We already got the primer under there. You just peel the film back, and as you do, you just rub it down like this. Sometimes that film will get a little stuck in there. This is just a beautiful. You just kind of try to keep it as even as you can and flat as you can. Boom, you're done. There it is. So now, out here, this is where your primer is. You put the primer on there. You got primer there, and now you're going to put primer here. You want to prime all this area with your brush. Prime all that. Then you're going to come back. Once you get it all primed, then you're going to put a little bit of caulking on it, just like this. That's simple. If it doesn't all sit in there, you can always take your finger and go around it if you want. We're trying to obviously stop a leak and make one of. There's going to be a little more permanent of a patch than just that plug that we did when it was raining. So now that we get that all done, the whole purpose of it is this part here. This part underneath here, that's a butyl. When the sun hits that, if you didn't have the caulking on there, it will cause it to release and curl up just like I'm doing here. And it'll start coming loose. That's why you need the primer. That's why when you prime it, you're going to prime on top of this because nothing will stick to it. Nothing, the caulking will not stick to this patch and it won't stick to the roof unless you use the primer. That's how you do a patch. Ta-da! All done.